Hello everyone, my name is Jenna Atia, and in this presentation we will be discussing the deadly Donora smog of 1948 in Donora, Pennsylvania. Our purpose and objectives for this presentation include learning about the Donora smog, seeing what can we learn from this incident to protect our health and the health of our environment today, and learning more about the Clean Air Act. Here we have the table of contents. In the coming slides, we will discuss how is smog formed, what caused the Donora smog of 1948, the incidence of smog affection in Donora, incidence of smog affection in relation to occupational status, how does this issue influence public health, the Clean Air Act, and we will look at an air quality report from 1980 to 2019 in Washington County, PA. First, we need to understand what is smog and how is it formed. Smog is a smoke or fog that is a type of air pollution. Factories and cars release pollutants such as hydrogen fluoride, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, multiple sulfur compounds, and particulate matter. These pollutants react with sunlight to create photochemical toxins, and warm air traps the smog closer to the ground, and this is how smog is formed. Figure 2 is a pie chart that can help us understand what caused the Donora smog of 1948. The pie chart shows sources of emissions of air pollutants. 52% of these emissions are from industry, 10% is from agriculture, 27% is from transportation, 8% from consumer and commercial products, and 1% from commercial and residential heating. Industry is responsible for more than half of air pollutant emissions. The two industries that played a major role in the air pollutant emissions during the Donora smog were the American Steel and Wire Plant and the Donora Zinc Works. On October 26 and 27 in 1948, when a temperature inversion occurred, the air stagnated and cold air became trapped below warmer air in the inversion, bringing the smog near. Figure 3 is a line graph that demonstrates the incidence of smog affection by age in Donora. On the x-axis, we have the age in years, and on the y-axis, we have the percent of individuals reporting smog affection. As age increases, smog affection also increases, and in a minute, we will discuss the implications of this dangerous public health event. This bar graph shows us the incidence of smog affection in relation to occupational status. On the x-axis, we have occupational status, and on the y-axis is the percent reporting smog affection. 49.6% of those who were gainfully employed reported smog affection. 52.2% of those who worked in Donora steel and zinc plants reported smog affection. 50.1% of those employed in other areas in Donora reported smog affection. 36.9% of those who were employed outside of Donora reported smog affection. 52.1% of those who are housewives reported smog affection, and 55.1% of those who are retired reported smog affection. So here we can see that this event affected everyone, from those working in factories to even housewives. And retired people were affected slightly more, and this can be attributed to old age. Now, how did this event influence public health? So deaths from cancer and cardiovascular disease in Donora from 1948 to 1957 were compared, and the data showed that there was a consistently higher number of deaths expected from cardiovascular disease in the decade following the smog for those who had reported having heart disease in 1948. Also, among men and women, a total of 70 deaths from cardiovascular disease were observed in Donora for those who had reported heart disease, asthma, pneumonia, or bronchitis. And a recent study of more than 60 million Americans who use Medicare demonstrated that higher exposure to air pollution was significantly associated with increased rates of all-cause mortality. So here we can see that air pollution and the Donora smog of 1948 have a big impact on one's cardiovascular health, and this can cause death. The Clean Air Act was a major policy put into place to combat air pollution. The Clean Air Act was established in 1970, and it is a law that authorizes the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, to establish national ambient air quality standards. And these are used to protect public health and public welfare and to regulate emissions of hazardous air pollutants. Now, the CAA has been shown to lead to savings of $22 trillion in healthcare costs, and the Clean Air Act is successful in reducing emissions that pollute our environment and harm us. Using the EPA website, this table shows us the Air Quality Index report in Washington County, PA, and Donora is a part of Washington County. So here we notice a drop in days with poor AQI, especially days with very healthy AQI, and this can be attributed to the efforts made to combat air pollution in recent years, such as the Clean Air Act. To summarize, the Donora smog of 1948 was a major public health issue that affected people of all ages. Smog is formed by the reaction of pollutants with sunlight to create photochemical toxins, and warm air traps smog closer to the ground. The Donora smog of 1948 was caused by poor regulation of industry emissions and a temperature inversion. This issue caused a rise in deaths from cardiovascular disease. The Clean Air Act was successful in reducing these emissions that pollute our environment and harm us. In conclusion, work remains to be done as air pollution is a constant threat to the health of the public. The potential exists for harmful weather events similar to the smog of 1948 or even more severe, especially in developing countries. Larger efforts should be made to reduce harmful emissions and protect public health. This is the final slide with the references used in the presentation. Thank you so much for listening.